Καλησπέρα. Από τώρα μιλάμε στα αγγλικά. Εντάξει. Ευχαριστώ. Great pleasure to be with you all in Chalkida today. As Alex said, I'm Francesco Benincasa. I'm an entrepreneur and an investor. And for 20 years, I've been working with tech startups all over the world. I want to thank George Koukis for his brilliant speech earlier today and for giving me a 20-year plan as well. My goal for the next 20 years is to work with startups who are driven by the right types of values to make a positive impact and ripples in our universe. Now, in order to do this, I have to find great teams with the right types of values that are looking to disrupt something. Bill Gross said of startups, "The startup organization is one of the greatest ways to make the world a better place." And I agree with him. My problem, I can't find enough of these startups right now, so I've decided to create an ecosystem to attract them in. The perfect combination of values in a startup is varied. I'm going to focus on just 3 of them: personality, technology, and knowledge. Now, get that wrong. Great, strong personality, powerful tech, lots of knowledge, but the wrong value set, and you're going to have something that looks a bit like Dr. Evil, and that's not going to work for anybody. Get it right. You can look closer to this guy, Elon Musk, SpaceX, Tesla Motors, Solar City, and before that, PayPal. And of course, his alter ego, Tony Stark. So today, I'm excited to share with you some of my ideas about a future path, about how we can create this ecosystem with clusters of values-driven businesses at its heart. Clustering is where people and businesses come together in one place. Michael Porter, the famous Harvard Business School economist, talked of clusters by saying they encourage the creation of new businesses. They boost innovation and they produce productivity, acceleration. We've seen clusters of shoemakers in Italy, wine in California, we've seen smartphone manufacturing in China, and of course we've seen tech in Silicon Valley. But most recently, we've seen things like music startups in Scandinavia, specifically in Sweden. We've seen blockchain startups in Estonia, and we've seen e-banking in the Nordics, and of course, fintech now in London. And it's not a coincidence that in Sweden, the file-sharing sites, the Pirate Bay, Kazaa, and uTorrent, were all started together. And it's no coincidence that the founders of these companies, 2 of the founders, Nicholas Zenström and Daniel Ek, went on to found super companies of Skype and Spotify from those clusters. Being part of these ecosystems can make it easier for customers to find businesses, to experiment with their products, to try things out. With all the competition around them in these clusters, with businesses doing the same thing as the next business next to them, businesses actually step up. They innovate. They find ways of making better products, new products, clever applications. And around them, an ecosystem grows to support that. They survive and they win by innovating, and by developing specialist products. And of course, talent and the networks grow up around them that help them stay ahead. Now, whether you're in an office, whether you're in an accelerator, whether you're in a garage, a cluster helps its members benefit as if they have the scale of a much larger organization. It's as if they've joined with other businesses, but without giving up those key values that startups have. The creativity, the flexibility, the passion. It's a positive reinforcement. Now, having said that, some clusters are random. They appear because a few great companies or visionary people set something up. They're driven to start something new. My goal is to create and work with these people in clusters of shared values to trigger these positive ripples in the universe. Now, when I was 17, my father said to me, why don't you go to church anymore? This was a big issue for him. My dad was an Italian immigrant into the UK in the 50s, and faith was a large part of his identity. So I said to him all the things that I thought were wrong and the reason that going no longer resonated for me. And typically, I'd have expected it to kick off at this point. We're used to having boisterous discussions on family, on religion, on politics, on business, on life, on love. But on this occasion, he was silent. And he paused. And then he looked at me and he said, "Why don't you change it?" This question has stuck with me. And I recognize it now as one of my core values, which is an insatiable desire to do something, to fix something when I see that it's wrong. I believe that values-driven businesses are different. Have you heard of Kickstarter? It's a global crowdfunding platform based on creativity, focused on creativity. They're based in Brooklyn and New York, and the company's mission is to help bring creative projects to life. They're awesome. They're awesome. And these are their values. Behind everything they do, they'll never sell your data. They'll never avoid tax in creative ways. And they'll seek to limit their impact on the environment. And these guys are already having positive ripples in their universe. They work with the companies that promote their services through Kickstarter, their products through Kickstarter. They're sending, shipping, and packaging millions of products all around the world. And working with Kickstarter, they help them to make environmentally conscious decisions around how they do that. These kind of companies are the inspiration. So before I go on, I'd like to ask your help. We get involved a little bit here. What are the values that you think would be important in this ecosystem? I'm not as friendly as George, so I'm not going to answer this for you. What do you guys think? Putting together an ecosystem, what are the values that you'd start with? Truth. Thank you. That's a great one. Some others there. Transparency. Another excellent one. Sorry? Common benefit. Brilliant. Ideas? Ideas, yeah? Great. Not being greedy. Brilliant. Chocolate. Excellent. The lady at the front. Chocolate's a good one, of course. Promotes hormones, feeling of goodwill. There's good benefits to that. Respect, love, both brilliant. Freedom. Let's have another. One more. Sorry? Commitment. Brilliant. Whoa. It's fantastic. That's amazing. Thank you. Thanks so much. Let's compare some of these to some that I've thought about. We heard this, openness, transparency. Openness, always listening to new ideas. The businesses, the people in these ecosystems, the entrepreneurs must be aware and open to best practices, open to advice from other people around them in the ecosystem, the members, allowing one idea to forge with another and recognizing that the power of that idea is infinitely bigger than the sum of its two parts. Secondly, transparency. Again, brilliant. Somebody had this. Because without transparency, businesses aren't moving forward. You may have heard in the UK, the Prime Minister and the Chancellor recently published their tax returns. Now, this is a good step forward for values in public life, and there's still a long, long way to go. But without transparency, we have to rely on things like the Drudge Report, on WikiLeaks, on most recently the Panama Papers or Anonymous to tell us what's really going on behind the scenes. And I think it's key, the value of the businesses of the future. People have to work these days in a diversity of roles, with different genders, with races, with nationalities, with different ages, skills, technologies, a variety of different things they have to handle. And the emotional capital is recognizing the feelings and the beliefs that help people to work best together. Very important thing there. And investors these days are recognizing that emotional due diligence is just as important as financial and technical due diligence when they're looking at the success factors behind a company. Telling it like it is. No bullshit. As Aristotle said 350 years ago, as you guys will be very familiar with, we do not act rightly because we have virtue or excellence. Rather, we have these things because we act rightly. We care how we make our profit, and we care how that profit is shared. And it's about taking these values around environmental, around social, around financial values, and in making sure that they're in the DNA of these businesses and these ecosystems. So let's take our values and practically apply them to our personality, to our knowledge, to our technology. Starting with personality. Jim Rohn says, you're the average of the 5 people you spend most time with. So make sure you choose carefully. We need to see disruptive thinkers. We need to see people who challenge the status quo. As Steve Jobs, who was quoted earlier, said, stay hungry, stay foolish, be ready to try new things, be ready to make mistakes, step out of your comfort zone. Original thinking and a radically different view of the world is what will take us from where we are today to the next level in these ecosystems. On technology, Larry Niven said, ethics change with technology. And he's right. Values should be the same in 20 years' time as they are today. So when we're dealing with issues around brain-like computers, around super pharmacology, around cryptocurrencies, our values need to remain strong. And I'm very happy to hear that you guys are on the same level with these kind of values. Cryptocurrency is a very good example. It's a very simple idea. I can transfer money to you directly, electronically, with no other parties involved. You don't need a bank. You don't need any other organization. From me to you. And it's built on a technology called blockchain. The blockchain enables transparency in business on a new type of trusted and secure network. It has the potential to address inefficiencies in governments, in big businesses, and to help reduce cost and improve trust. We're opening up new business models with new types of technologies that can build these values into its DNA. This is a pretty good starting point for a new cluster. In ancient Sparta, again, as you guys will know very well, they developed their children from birth to serve the state. Spartans were only interested in the best, who'd become part of the agogi. Did I pronounce that? The agogi, which it was a Spartan method for instilling the values of Sparta in their future warriors. Now, Spartan boys and girls had the opportunity to prove themselves and, using their skills, prove themselves worthy of membership of the society. Now, things have moved on a lot since then. You may well know the quite brilliant speech by Sir Ken Robinson on values and the creative capacity of children. He said in that speech, we have to rethink the fundamental principles on which we're educating our children. In a values-driven ecosystem, we have to continue that education. We have to continue it with the teaching of creativity, social skills, analytical thinking, as well as technical skills. We're moving much deeper into a world of gaming, of virtual reality, of artificial intelligence. We're beyond the boundaries where parents can teach these skills to their children. I mean, you should see how I play Minecraft. It's a disaster. I learn from my children. My kids invite me into their virtual world, and we're sitting there playing, and my son's saying, pick up this iron sword. Go and have a look under that rock over there, because that type of soil usually buries diamonds. My daughter will say, stop trying to kill me. all this stuff and what's going on. I'm getting into these new technologies, and my children are the teachers. Everything is radically changing around us, and we have to build these values into the businesses and the ecosystems that we're working in. Clusters, these kind of ecosystems, have action at their core. It's like the ancient Spartans. They're training their values into their youth from the beginning. And in this new cluster, creators need to think in a values-driven way. Teachers need to teach in a values-driven way. The great visionary businesses need to deliver, and the investors need to invest in a values-driven way. So my question to you, are you ready to make some ripples in the universe? And if the answer is yes, then join us in this new ecosystem. It's my idea worth spreading. Thank you.